He may be America's most horrifying serial rapist and killer. And he likes to stay in touch. Still terrorizing his victims who survived.
He's making these phone calls and wanting to listen to the victims or somehow reestablish, relive the crime, perhaps. Very scary, very chilling.
Police believe it is the actual voice of the man who has blazed a trail of terror up and down the state of California, accounting for 45 rapes and a dozen murders spanning 10 years.
The victims would be asleep. They would be in bed. They would be feeling their safest. You're awakened by a flashlight shown in your eyes and a gun pointed at you in the middle of the night. In many of the cases, he would rape the female victim and then he would bludgeon the victims to death.
My mother was beaten to death as well. I don't know which blow killed her, but I know she died in terror.
Once thought to be several different criminals over a long and far-ranging crime spree, he's been given many names.
East Area Rapist, Original Night Stalker, Golden State Killer, Diamond Knot Killer.
It took years to connect all the crimes to one man, who remains at large to this day. But police don't want to give this monster a new name. Today, they want only one name, his real name.
We have had at least 4 suspects that I can recall during my time as a homicide detective.
Do you think he's still in California?
I think he very possibly is. I think he very possibly is still in Sacramento.
The dreadful career of this most elusive and intelligent killer rapist begins in and around Sacramento, California.
It was a sleepy town, small town community. People left their doors unlocked, they left their cars unlocked in the driveway.
But when the fiend known as the East Area Rapist was done with it, old Sacramento was changed forever. And it would change investigator Carol Daly, too. She was the only female on the force working sex crimes, and the East Area Rapist case landed on her desk.
Gun shops sold out of guns. Hardware stores sold out of locks and alarm systems.
So number 1 occurred in Cordova Meadows, and that's actually where we have the strongest cluster in the entire series.
The tally is devastating. Over 30 rapes in the Sacramento area, all in upper middle-class neighborhoods, all in the dead of night, in the most frightening way imaginable.
When people are probably in their deepest of sleep, he makes entry into that home. He is all of a sudden appearing at the foot of their bed. He would very commonly be wearing some sort of a mask, whether it was a mask that he fashioned himself or ski masks that he would purchase at times.
I looked up and there was a man standing there with a ski mask with a long butcher knife.
Jane Carson Sandler is one of his earliest victims, and she tells the blood-curdling tale to Crime Watch Daily. Awakened past midnight with her 3-year-old son sleeping next to her in bed.
And he was just standing right over me. I mean, he put a knife right to my chest and made a few little cuts. We were tied and gagged and blindfolded very quickly, frozen in fear. Heart just almost coming through my throat, coming out of my chest.
She says he removes her son from the bed, and then he returns.
He untied my ankles, and then I knew that he was going to rape me. While he was raping me, I didn't even pay attention to that because I was just so terrorized by, where's my son? Where is he? What did you do with him? Did you kill him? He told me if I were to say anything, he would kill both of us. And he just kept telling me to shut up.
The attacker stays in the house for an hour, going through drawers, rummaging in the kitchen. Then he leaves.
I was able to get the cloth out of my mouth and able to get my blindfold down. I was able to untie my hands, and I noticed that my son was asleep next to me. I just prayed that he's gone And I woke up my son and I said, "We've got to go, we've got to go."
Jane's son is unhurt and recalls little of the incident. But she says the attacker still checks in over the following months as if to make sure she doesn't forget anything.
What did he do?
He'd call and then there would be no one on the other end of the phone. And I just knew it was him. I just knew it was him.
In time, the rapist, estimated to be between the ages of 18 and 30, becomes emboldened. He starts attacking when both men and women are home asleep, binding the man and raping the woman. And he adds a chilling new technique to maximize the terror.
He would throw the bindings to the female, tell her to bind the male up. Then our offender would go and tie the female up. At a certain point, he separates the female out into the family room, and he comes in with the dishes and puts it on the male's back and tells the male, if I hear these move, she's dead, or I'm going to cut a part of her off and bring it to you. At certain points during the attacks, he sometimes would even tell the victims, I'm going to go eat now. And the victims would hear him go into the refrigerator. Sometimes he would actually take food out onto the back patio and eat out there.
And he always takes something from the home, a memento to remember them by.
Something that would be significant to the victim, a class ring, maybe a ring that a wife had given to a husband that had his initials in it, or their anniversary date. Sometimes photos would be torn in half and he would take half of the photo. He's still able to prolong that crime by messing with the victim.
By now, the communities in and around Sacramento are utterly traumatized, and rumors abound as police try to calm the public.
At one of the community meetings, a gentleman stood up and said he absolutely could not believe that a rapist could come into a home and rape a woman while the husband was in bed with her.
But surprise, it appears there may be an unexpected guest among them, and he is taking notes.
About 7 months later, when this husband and his wife were victims of the East Area Rapist.
Do you believe that the rapist singled that man out?
I believe the rapist was at the meeting. I believe he may have followed them home and just waited.
It's not random in your mind?
No, it was not random.
He is a force of evil on the loose, but police know that things could get even worse if they don't catch him soon.
His hatred, his frenzy, his terrorizing was escalating, and I really was fearful that the next case we were called to was going to be a homicide case.
Next, the East Area Rapist strikes hard.
Brian and Katie end up in the backyard of a residence where they are both shot and killed.
And police pick up a possible suspect in the East Area Rapist case. In a Crime Watch Daily exclusive, we talked to that same man for the first time ever on national television.
They thought maybe I was the guy. I was the East Area Rapist.
Was that true?